Hi guys, welcome back to TOEFL with Juva. In this lesson, I will point out 8 common mistakes that you must absolutely avoid in TOEFL Independent Writing. These mistakes can really harm your score, but if you are aware of them, they won't happen to you. Let's get started! By the way, if you want to get your dream TOEFL score, check out my TOEFL materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your score. To access the TOEFL materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video. In the TOEFL Independent Writing task, you have 30 minutes to give your personal opinion about a given subject. Pay attention to these common errors to help keep you on track. First, avoid poor structure. Since you're discussing your own point of view, it's easy to stray off track in the independent writing task. Students frequently begin with a good introduction, then start explaining an example. Since it's a subject they know well, they give lots of detail and information that is not related. By the end of the paragraph, the original topic is lost. Avoid this mistake by using a template. Yes, I've said this before, but it's important. A template gives you the basic outline for a really solid essay. It also has sentence starters to make sure you join appropriate ideas together to build your argument. I have written templates for all the TOEFL writing tasks. You can find them in this course. Use them and boost your TOEFL writing score. Next, I will give you a few tips related to the topic to write about. Don't change the choices. No matter what question you get in the independent writing task, you're given 2 or 3 options. You need to select one and write about it. You may think that a different solution to the problem is better. However, this test is not the place to share that opinion. The question asks you for the best of the options given. Therefore, you must write about one of them. I also suggest that you don't worry too much about which point of view you select. If you take a lot of time to decide the perfect stance, you won't have as much time left over to write. My best advice is to just pick one of the choices and get started thinking of good examples to support it. Talking about supporting ideas leads right to my next point. Avoid unsupported claims. Let me explain what I mean about a claim and support. A claim is any statement you make regarding your topic. For example, I think children should do chores every day is a claim. Lots of students stop there. However, there is no support. Support refers to any facts, stories, or ideas that make your claim stronger. In other words, support is the reason you feel a given way. Let's look at some support for the claim, I think children should do chores every day. I could write about the fact that I did chores as a child and I learned responsibility. That's a good reason to do chores, isn't it? I could also write about a study I read that said children who do chores get better grades in school. It's a totally different reason, but it's still a great one. I could also write about how nice it is if a child helps with household tasks so the parents aren't as tired. You see, any of these are support for a claim. None are right and none are wrong. You just need to select a reason to show why you hold your opinion. That said, here's point 4. Make sure your examples fit the claim. The TOEFL examiners don't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how your support relates to the topic. For example, let's look at the claim that children should do chores. It might be easy to start out, I go to school Monday through Friday and I have a lot of homework. If I had more time, I'd like to help my parents, but I'm really busy. This sentence is related to the topic of choice. However, does it really support the claim? Look closely. This sentence explains that I don't have time to do chores, so does not support the idea that children should do chores at all. It's really easy to get lost in your essay. You write about the general topic, but don't give a reason for the claim. How do you solve this problem? Use awesome linking words to show that you are giving an example. There are many in my template. You can say, for example, or for instance, to show that the following discussion is an example. You can use by contrast to show that one point is different, or similarly to emphasize something similar. If you use linking words like this, you will be able to see how the ideas flow from one to the other. By the way, if you want to get your dream TOEFL score, check out my TOEFL materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your score. To access the TOEFL materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video. Here's another common mistake. Don't change the point of view in the middle of a sentence. You're asked about your opinion in the independent writing task. You have to give examples. As a result, you may switch from the first person I to the third person he and she. You may also use you. It's normal to mix the pronouns this way, but you should be careful about changing viewpoints in a sentence. This problem makes more sense if you see an example. Here's one now. People need to learn responsibility, and that is why he should help with chores. Do you see the subject is people, and then the following pronoun is he? People is plural, so the pronoun should be two. Here's another example that's a little less obvious. My sister and I take turns washing dishes. This helps children become more responsible. The subject of the first sentence is my sister and I. The next sentence starts with this, which is rather vague, but probably refers to the fact that we take turns washing dishes. However, children in general do not become more responsible if my sister and I wash dishes. My sister and I become more responsible. Do you see how the point of view changed? I find a lot of errors like this in my own writing when I proofread. Therefore, I suggest taking a few minutes at the end of the test to proofread your own work. I can fix the problem in my example sentences by changing this to such chores. My sister and I take turns washing dishes. Such chores help children become more responsible. Now the discussion changes from my specific example of washing dishes to the general situation of all children doing similar chores. On to the next point. Don't write too much. You may think that more is better, but that's not true. You need to present your point of view clearly, rather than rambling on about loosely related stories. Really long essays often include awkward grammatical structures and redundant words. that doesn't show a good command of language, even if it's longer. Compare these two sentences. I'm of the opinion that the optimum amount of chores, namely tasks assigned around the home, which children should do for their families, is in the general range of 2 hours in any given week, more or less. I think children should do about 2 hours of chores per week. The second is much easier to understand, isn't it? I find that the best number of words for a response is around 400. Don't worry if you are slightly over or under this number. In reality, you need to use as many words as it takes to make your point. No more and no less. Rather than worry about word count, here's what to focus on. Use good grammar. This is really essential for boosting your score. Complex sentence structures show a good command of language, but if you make many mistakes using them, you will get points taken off. Therefore, practice several complex structures before the test so you can use them with confidence. Avoid using unfamiliar structures and verb tenses. If you have doubts about a sentence you write, change it so it's simpler but definitely correct. One important detail here is punctuation. Many people spend a lot of time trying to pick the correct words and then they forget the period at the end of the sentence. You end up with a run-on with ideas jumbled together. Comma splices are also common, where several sentences are joined by commas rather than separated with periods and capital letters. In other words, make sure that you use correct punctuation too. Finally, here's my last tip. Be wary of big words. This point is just like using grammar you don't know well. In this case, avoid words you don't know well. You can really change the meaning of a sentence, so it's impossible to understand if you use the wrong word. The TOEFL examiner is looking for a range of words. You need to be able to express your ideas in different ways. However, that doesn't necessarily mean complex words. I will go back to an earlier example to show what I mean. I think children should do about 2 hours of chores per week. I don't have to use unfamiliar words to paraphrase this sentence. Here's one option. I believe 2 hours of helping around the house weekly is best for children. I changed think to believe. Chores became helping around the house, and per week became weekly. The other big difference is the word order. The amount of time went from the end of the sentence to the middle. My point here is that you should use words that you know well to show your vocabulary to the best advantage. Use a range of words in different ways rather than spending a lot of time trying to think of the longest, most difficult word you can. For the TOEFL Independent Writing task, clear and simple is best. A great way to practice is to write responses to practice questions. Step away from your desk for a while, then take time to reread your response. If you have included any of these problems, don't worry. They're very common, which is why I'm talking about them. Remove the problem by rewriting your response. The process of rewriting will help you remember good structure and vocabulary. Then you will be ready to make an awesome response for the real test. That's it! That's 8 common mistakes to avoid in TOEFL Independent Writing. By the way, if you want to get your dream TOEFL score, check out my TOEFL materials. Here you can find templates, courses, sample answers, and much more to really boost your score. To access the TOEFL materials, click on the link in the description. Also, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss the next video.